valuable tool for a lot of companies.
I'd be happy to, and it's a great background, a great story, and it starts a long time ago. Like I've been saying the words CAD for much longer than I expected to say in SolidWorks. But so it starts back, I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree early 2000 or late 1990s, and went into the realm of CAD. I was just a CAD junkie, I guess you could say. I really loved the CAD component of engineering and decided to follow that passion and became an applications engineer, focusing on the SolidWorks software. And pretty quickly into the experience of going out and visiting companies and seeing what their challenges are and trying to apply SolidWorks as a software solution to what they're working on. We would sell them the software, help them introduce and get up to speed it, send them through training classes, and began recognizing pretty quickly that customers that were making these large investments in the software were sending students to training and going back out to visit a few months later, just seeing that they weren't quite getting up to speed with the tools and the capabilities in software and making as much of the investment as they could be. And it's obvious the reason why that is, that training is a great solution to get started, but in real life, when you go through a training class, you get back to the office, you don't immediately pick up the software, you don't start employing the skills that you have, that you learned, and there's a lot to learn. And really it takes learning over time. That's kind of how the human brain works. It takes learning over time to really reinforce the skills, especially in a complex tool like SolidWorks. And so we just recognized, me and my business partner, that there had to be a better way to learn, that learning wasn't just a one-time event, but it was something that needed to be reinforced. And there's a specific way that learning should happen to really ingrain all the capabilities and the power of SolidWorks into someone that's using the tool. And so that was really kind of the birth of SolidProfessor, and we really focused on the learning experience, it being a reference tool, understanding concepts, really getting these foundational concepts in, and something that is video based. So like I shared before, that someone can go back and they can review all the material, they can do it over and over again until they've really nailed it. And so that was kind of the background for SolidProfessor. We just thought there needed to be a tool that really aligned better with how people learn, that helped them make the most out of the software.
Yeah, and that's also what we were looking for, of course. When we, as TECHNIA, started on this journey with SolidWorks, a lot of our customers are also asking, how can you help us train? And we are totally in the same boat there. We see that we need tools to better train in a more efficient and cost-efficient manner, and help people to do also just-in-time training, because there will be new situations where you need to learn new capabilities, and you want to have that on the click on the button. So very exciting, Tony.
Yeah, and time changes. You learn in a different way. Then I'm also an old engineer, and that was the traditional, go back to the school bench and sit there and look at the teacher. Here nowadays, everybody has on the fingertips.
Exactly.
You Google things, but you need a little bit more in context in this case. So
exactly.
Yeah, this is really exciting.
So Tony, could you elaborate a little bit more on the platform? Because you told a little bit of your background and why the rationale behind SolidProfessor. What are the key components if you look into the great platform you have?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It kind of grows a little bit on that story I shared earlier. So we really focused on the learning experience for SolidProfessor, because we were very user focused. You know, coming from being engineering background and teaching classes and focusing on, okay, how do I help the individual user learn the best from SolidProfessor? And after we had launched the product, we started seeing that a number of teams, so larger teams, were beginning to use our product. And one of the administrators, the CAD administrators for one of the companies, came to us and said, hey, SolidProfessor, well, Tony, and the rest of the team, we love what you guys are doing. And we would love to have not only the course material that you have and the learning experience, but help us take this and help me manage the skills competency of my team. And they basically said, we need a platform, a way for you to help us do this across a global team. And that was really where we'd introduced new capabilities for SolidProfessor. This was in 2011. We started developing the administrative component to SolidProfessor. And so that was really driven by someone who had recognized that the value in the material. And then the obvious next evolutionary step was, all right, well, how do we help a team manage, or someone who's managing a team manage that learning of a team? And so we introduced capabilities that were focused on, one, the most important one is identifying the skill level that individual users are at on a team, because that can be very difficult for someone who's managing a team to really understand. So that was the first phase of the Teams product. The next component to that is, once we understand what an individual user's skill level is, how do we take the appropriate material for either that cohort of individuals based on what they're learning or where their learning level is, and organize course material that's specific to their needs. Kind of a great example is there's a lot of essentials learning classes, but maybe someone's been through an essentials and they just need to have a smaller subset of training material on, maybe it's advanced assemblies, maybe it's assembly mating, it could be on these smaller areas. So allow the administrator to take and organize, okay, well, here's the course material I really want to push out, or based on the individual user's needs, I want to ask of them to go through. And so it gives us the ability to not only group users together, but also to customize the learning path for a set of users at an organization. And the next step there is tracking progress. So are my users going through and watching the lessons? We test at the end of every single section, and then the reporting on that, all of that is sent to the administrator. So you can see, are people going in? When are they going in? What lessons are they watching? Which ones are they watching multiple times? How well are they scoring at the end of the test?
Yeah.
And I think an important part to that is that there's the administrative part, so administrators get that insight, but we don't want to feel like it's just straight oversight. There's a lot of benefits for the individual users to go through the platform. When they take the test in the very beginning, we'll highlight lessons to have a real kind of precision learning path for users to know, hey, I missed a lesson or a question related to this lesson, and it's highlighted in that user's learning path, so they know which areas to pay attention to. So there's a real benefit on both sides.
And also when we're looking into, because learning in the right way and the right order is of course very important, but what we also see is, of course, it's crucial to have the right methodology of engineering within your organization. What do you think about, how do you work with that, like methodology kind of trainings within SolidProfessor? Could you elaborate a little bit on that, Tony?
So I think we're talking about kind of best practices.
Yeah.
So we talked about this, and Stefan, you kind of referred to this, is that things change within the software, and so best practices are always evolving. The way that you might have used SolidWorks 2 or 3 years ago, if you're still using that way, you're losing an entire year's worth of development into the software that makes it easier to do it in a new way now. So we very much focus every year. We go through all of the course material and we update it based on new best practices, new technologies, or a new technology releases in the software, to make sure that the latest best practices are inherent in the instruction. And that also relates to update training. So we release an update training course every single year. Why take the time as an administrator to update? It's a big task from an IT standpoint to update these machines. So why not make sure that your users are taking advantage of the software that you're taking the time to install for them? And from a user standpoint, I think from thinking about putting myself back in the user seat, some of the best enhancements are, how do I do things easier? How do I make my life easier? And it could be small things like a right click. Oh, I didn't know that was a right click menu away. Or maybe I'm going through and doing things in the old way when it would have taken me 10 clicks. Now it's going to take me 2 clicks. So it just makes my life better, and it keeps me a little bit more at the cutting edge of the software.
Yeah, I totally agree. And how about certification? Is that also part of the learning curve? Yeah.
That is a great question. So as anyone who's in the SolidWorks world knows, certification is a key component to SolidWorks and being a kind of a recognized user. So they have the most successful certification program, I would say, of any CAD program. And it's if you are a SolidWorks user, your goal should be to get your SolidWorks certifications, whether it's a certified SolidWorks associate, professional, or expert. There's a wide range of certifications that tie into specific skill sets and how you use the software. And within SolidProfessor, we have certification pathways where you can take SolidProfessor course material from not only the learning from the very beginning of what you should know, all the way to a certification prep course. And what the prep course does is, as the name implies, it helps you prepare for taking the test. It's not just about what you know, but it's also how do you budget your time on the test? What will the questions be like? How should you answer questions? And so it's really going to help increase the success rate that you're going to take the time to take the test that you're going to pass. We also have a close partnership with SolidWorks, where if an individual goes through our certification pathways, you'll earn a free certificate to take a SolidWorks test online. So yeah, if anyone wants to really prove their skills, absolutely, I encourage everyone to pursue their SolidWorks certification.
So if we're hearing it right, it's a win-win-win situation. So it's good for the company. You can harmonize on the global level. It's good for the individual. It's good for everybody. So
it's good for the manager to see what you have in the team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really building on those key fundamentals. Really nice to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is needed in form of, do I have to install something at my site as a customer, or what do I have to do? How do you get started practical?
So implementation with SolidProfessor is very, very straightforward and very easy. From an administrator standpoint, the good news is there's nothing to install. SolidProfessor is completely web-based, and we touched on this in the last session, but we touched on it. The way that SolidProfessor operates is you're purchasing a bundle of user accounts. Everything is web-based. Each user will have their own username and password to log in, and once they log in, they'll have access to any of the courses, groups, any of the things that were set up by the administrator. Again, that's also web-based. And so no installation. There is a plugin inside of SolidWorks that you can install as a user, and that gives you access to SolidProfessor right inside of the SolidWorks task pane. So that's a nice convenience. But from an implementation standpoint, all web-based, no installation, all managed by SolidProfessor. We also have an onboarding success team. So once a customer has decided that SolidProfessor is a good fit for them and their team, our success person will connect with the administrator. We'll do an administrator training, help you understand how to set up all the different accounts, set up the groups, set up the training resources, and then check in with you over the course of a year to make sure that the goals you set out, the learning goals you set out for the year, are achieved by the time we get to the end of the year.
Yeah. So great to hear, Tony. It's a real fit on how we see the business as well, and that's why we came to this partnership. So we're really excited to go deeper on this journey with you and SolidProfessor. We would like to thank you for taking time to do a bit of a deep dive. Of course, if we would like to know more, reach out to us. We were always open to share, demonstrate, try it out. We're here to help.
Yep.
So Tony, thanks a lot. I knew you had to wake up quite early to do this. So thanks a lot, and we wish you a very good day.
Absolutely as well. You guys have a great evening. I can see the sun going down maybe over there.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
It is.
Yep.
Thanks, Tony.
So thank you very much.
It's great joining you today. Excited about this partnership.
Yeah.
Bye, Tony.